Welcome. Hey, it's Brent. Welcome to the Cash Clinic, CRMX Cash Clinic, that is. I'm excited to have you guys here and watch this, whether you're watching the recording or not. This is going to be super valuable today. We're going to go into how in the world to manage your team and team members in CRMX, how to manage contacts, sales appointments, how to pass them back and forth, and basically play well together with between team members or users inside of your CRMX account. So that's the goal. That's what I want to make sure we're doing. We're on the same page, and I'll share my screen here in a minute, and you'll see just how powerful this can be. If you're not doing it this way and you have a team of 2 or more people, then you may want to consider watching this all the way through and understand that there's certain things that you'll need to understand, like need to do inside of CRMX in order to make this really streamlined for your team members. Okay. And frankly, what it does too is it's not only a good experience for your team and your employees, but it's a good experience for your contacts or your prospects and customers. Okay. Because now there's no confusion on the handoff back and forth between each other. And I think one of the biggest pain points that we have in the whole CRMX world or CRM world in general is going to be this miscommunication between team members when you're um, handing off or communicating with customers. There's one big pain point is, hey, I'm a setter, for example, and there's a closer that I'm setting this for, or a team of closers, and I need to be able to pass this off to them, but I also still want to keep my eyes on it. So when I pass it off to them, it disappears and I can no longer see it because my permissions no longer let me. Well, I'll show you ways around this. I'll show you how I would do it. Um, Everybody's slightly different too. So you want to go about this in a way that makes sense to your team. Okay. So I have on here like CRMX users. Many of you are, most of you are home at the time of this recording, home service companies like in solar or any other home service company, right? Some of you though are in coaching and you're like an expert in like a fitness or financial coach or a relationship coach. There's that as well. What they all have in common as of right now is you all use appointments to close deals. Meaning there's some kind of sales appointment, there's some kind of over the phone, via Zoom, or video conferencing, or in person. There's some time or some type of like sit down, explain it, and either you take a transaction or you sign a contract. And based off of that, there needs to be this handoff between team members. And I'm going to show you how that works and how you can really streamline this and make it easy for team members to see what they need to see, but also don't see what they don't need to see, like overwhelmingly. Because there's so many things you can do in CRMX that it can get overwhelming for a team member that just essentially needs to do a few things. They don't need to see everything. Okay. All right, here we go. Sharing my screen here. What I'm going to do is outline the flow for you, and then we'll dive into CRMX and really understand that as well here. So sharing screen, you guys let me know. I know I have a few of you here live with me, a handful here. Let me know when you see my screen. That would be great. And also let me know your name and so on, because I can't see exactly who's here with me, especially if you're on Facebook or something. I don't actually get to see your name. It just, because I'm using StreamYard, it just shows me user. So type your name in as well in the chat so I can say hi. I see some of you are joining from our community, so thank you. I see a few joining from my personal page and some just joining live here as well. So hey, Jack, what's up, man? Jack B, that is Burley. Sky, what's up, Skylar? Good, good. Okay, cool. Thank you, guys. I am going to share my screen. Let me know when you see it. Sharing window. Let's do this one over here and share. Okay, you should see my screen. I'm going to shrink this window down so it's a little easier for you guys to see. It'll zoom in. There we go. That should be a pretty clear picture for you so far. Joe is here. What's up? Mr. Joe Moose joins from LinkedIn. Joe, you are my first person to join from a live LinkedIn, man, that I know of. So awesome. Okay, so here we are. I'm in a demo account. What we're going to do is, if this is team best practices, and this is about how to play well as a team, and you have setters and closers, and you have admin and standard users, how do you set them all up? How do you make it work clean together? Okay, so let me go over some really, there's no simple way of putting this. Okay, so let me just give you a preview. So what's inside of CRMX is powerful, but as my good friend Spider-Man would say, with great power comes great responsibility. That is the corniest thing ever, but we're going to go with it. Look at all these permissions. Look at all this. You see all this? That can get overwhelming. This is how many things you can toggle on and off for users to see. You can look at, and I'm not going to go through absolutely every little detail, but let me just read them off. Okay. You got dashboard stats. So like, can they see a dashboard? Campaigns and triggers. I'll explain what the difference is here between this. Somebody might ask, well, wait, I thought workflows. See, there's something down here called workflows. And you're wondering, well, wait, what's that? What's the difference between workflows and campaigns and triggers? This one right here, workflows. Opportunities, contacts, online listings, communities. What's this little toggle for only assigned data for? What's the lead value? Websites, Facebook ads, reporting, attribution reporting, social planner, blogging, payments, invoicing, payment refunds, appointments. Holy crap. Bulk requests, funnels, conversations, reviews, memberships, settings, tags, marketing, AdWords reporting, call reporting, agent reporting, workflows, affiliate manager, record payment, and cancel subscription. Whoo, here we go. Okay, that's a lot. So that's a ton of power you have on your fingertips. First of all, some of you are watching this, you're like, holy crap, I didn't even know I could do any of this stuff. Yeah, there's a lot you can do. You can also restrict each user of what you can do on all of these. You can toggle these on and off. Okay. This is just a screenshot, by the way. I'm in a little mind mapping software. Okay. So then you have, I want you to understand, that's just permissions, but you have what's called user roles. And these user roles, I'll explain in a minute. And that's essentially, there's just two roles that you can assign. You can assign a user and a admin. And admin, I do want to point out, there's all these little things. This help docs explain all this. I don't mean this to be an in-depth training about this. I just need you to understand there's so many little permissions, and it matters how you set up your users, like your team members, whether they're an admin or a user, and what permissions they have. It matters at first. So that's the foundation. You need to understand this in order to make your team play well together. Okay. So now let's talk about team collaboration. So I'll come back to this, guys. Just let that soak in, that there's a ton of crap to understand, or that they can and cannot do if you turn those permissions on. But now let's say, okay, well, cool. So what exactly can the team members see? Well, depending on their permission, you can set up a team member with these permissions. And there's these two types called user or admin, right? Well, depending on the permissions when you set them up as a user, because you can actually customize, every user can be set up slightly different. Like, what if you have somebody in marketing, you only want them to see all those little marketing reports, and they don't necessarily need to see all your like other user information that is not necessary? Or what if they're just a setter? You don't need to see all this marketing stuff, right? That's unnecessary. And what if you only want them to see contacts that are assigned to them, and nobody else? Like that, you don't want, if you have 1,000 contacts and you have a setter that only should see the ones assigned to them. So let's say there's 100 of them. Well, then how do you get only those 100 to show up for that setter when they're logged in? So there's these things that you got to think about, but I'll show you how to simplify it and how to make this play well together. There's this other, by the way, there's this other thing now you can do, which is called a follower. And that's brand new in the past quarter here. And you can actually assign followers to contacts instead of contact owners. And I'm going to explain that in a minute. What's the difference between a contact owner and a follower? Okay. It's a feature that I've been waiting to come out for years, and it's finally here. So this is fantastic. You'll like this, especially if you have closers and setters or managers. You'll like that a lot. Okay. So now that you understand there's like users, let's just talk about what's inside of a contact record. I'm trying to avoid going into the software guys just for a minute so you just see it visually like in a list. So first of all, in a contact record, there's things called fields. Fields are a fancy way of saying where do you enter their data. So like first and the last name, their email, phone, address, and then many of you, depending on the industry you're in, you have home type. These here's an example called custom fields. You can create as many custom fields as you want, okay, and you can put them in little folders and organize them. But like maybe it's home type, roof type, or if like you're a barber or something, like hair color, or if you're like a weight loss or fitness coach, you got like current weight, goal weight. You can do all this stuff. Okay. You can customize the app however you need it to be for these custom fields. Okay. So now you have a contact record with all these fields that you've entered in or can enter in. But then under a contact record, by the way, let's say it's Bob Smith and you collected their email and their phone number and their address. Okay. And Bob's let's do barber for fun. Bob's hair is brown. Okay, so that's what you know about Bob on these fields, but then you can assign tasks inside of Bob's record. You can say, "Oh, cool. I want remind me to follow up with Bob." A task that says contact whatever the task is, okay? Then you can do add notes which have a date and timestamp on them. So under Bob's record, you can add as many notes as you'd like each day. You update it. Hey, I colored their hair brown today. Next time he wants it blonde. I'm horrible at that part. And then you can attach any documents. Here you can have like this could be contract. This can be anything that this could be like a style that they like. If we're going with a hairstyle example, in solar, this could be like signed documents. This could be their power bill. This could be whatever, right? Payments. Some of you in home services, you don't even take payment like solar. You don't take payment. So this won't be, you won't even use this. But in a barbershop, you take payments and it'll show their record of payments. Appointments, everyone uses sales appointments. So this could be sales appointments. This could be onboarding appointments. This could be hair appointments. It could be whatever you want it to be. And then you have opportunities, which are your sales opportunities in your pipeline. We'll go into that in a minute. Then you have workflows that they're in. These are automations that they might be in, and tags, which means segmenting them. So, hey, I know Bob has brown hair, lives in the, you can do all kinds of redundant tags to like filter, use them to segment your list easier, faster, better. Okay, that's what tags are for. I'm not going to go into too much, but listen, contacts, you can view all of that stuff, but not everybody on your team needs to see all this stuff, correct? Sometimes you don't need them to that's overwhelming. So this is why I want to point this out. It matters how you set up your team members so you can simplify what they see. You as an admin, and if you're, by the way, if you're a team member, you're not an admin, this is good for you to know. You might want to tell your admin to turn some permissions off because you're sick of seeing that stuff. It's irrelevant to you and it gets in your way. It's just clutter. Okay. Or you might say, oh, I didn't know I could see those things. Turn those on, please. That's important, right? You can do the reverse. All right. So now you understand contacts, you understand permissions a little bit. Let's go into how does a team work together? Well, let's talk about contact owners and contact followers, and I'll give you the summary here. So you see this little thing here? This is all contact. You can see that. So a contact owner is in green and yellow. All I did this is for a visual sake. A contact owner, green is go, yellow is kind of go. It's yield. But contact owners, they can do and edit all of this stuff if they have permission to see it. Okay. If they have permission to see it, they can edit all of this. The contact owner. The contact follower can just view it if they have permission to view it. They can only view these things, they cannot edit them. Immediately, you should see the benefit there. Contact owner usually is the setter, for example, and I'll go through the flow of how this works on the app in a minute. But you can say, for instance, the contact owner is the setter, assigned setter contacts, qualifies, and sets an appointment. When they set the appointment, you actually in your flow, in this example flow, you may want your contact to be now assigned to the closer, and the closer becomes the contact owner. But you do want your setter to still be able to view it as a follower. Got it? If not, what typically happens is you'll when the setter sets the appointment and it signs the contact owner as the, or excuse me, the appointment owner as the new contact owner, all of a sudden the setter loses view of what happened to that. They don't get to see what's going on in the sales appointment or like the status of the sales appointment. And they sit there and have to like text or contact the closer that was assigned and say, hey, whatever happened to Bob? Did they sit? Did they not sit? And it's this dumb communication that goes back and forth when they could have seen it as a follower if they just assigned themselves as a follower. And I'll show you the flow here. But this is what I'm talking about of how to set up your users inside of CRMX. So again, it almost sounds, I get that it can be overcomplicated or it can sound overcomplicated with all these things. And frankly, it is because there's a lot of power behind it. But ultimately, after you understand all this, I'll show you step by step of how I would set up a setter, a closer, or like an admin person on your team, somebody who's like back office. I'll go through some roles on what I would set them up as, and hopefully that'll be helpful. Solar Ninja mind maps to explain Brand Attaway's brain to us is the best. Miss you and thanks. You bet, man. Good to have you here. Yeah, we're gonna go over. I'm always mind mapping, guys. Always mind mapping stuff to make sure we're on the same page. Because as soon as I click over to this tab, it's like everybody's brain, like for some reason, just goes into paralysis. There's just so much information that oh wait, hold on, I'm new here, right? And it gets daunting. So here's the view. If I'm coming in, let's just go ahead and I'm going to set up a new admin person on my team, a new admin. Okay, ready? Here we go. This is not, I want this to feel like a tutorial, but I also want you to understand this is the power you have at your fingertips to hurry and hire and onboard anybody on your team into CRMX and let them contribute as they should to your team without it being a crutch. I don't want CRMX to ever be a crutch. It should be power in your hands. Okay. So come over here under my staff, under settings, my staff, and we can add these people in here. So you just say add employee and you would add the names in here. Okay. Email, phone number. You can see the only things required is first name, last name, and email. Okay. You can put their phone number. I recommend you do. This would be like their cell phone number, and then set up a password. You can standardize a password and then they can reset it. You can always send a reset password to them as well if you need to. And so you can see the requirements here, meet those things and set up. Don't worry about the calendar for now. We're going to skip all that. And right here under user permissions, this is what I was showing a screenshot for. So first of all, roles. If you're setting up an admin, put them as admin. If you want them to see absolutely everything, then the only thing you need to switch on, don't switch this one on. I'll explain that in a minute, is just affiliate manager. If you want the admin to see an affiliate manager, like you want somebody to see all things, have full control over your app, besides delete your app or cancel the subscription or something on accident. But you want them to have full control, including exporting and importing lists and sales opportunities. You want them to have full control. You only want to trust like 2 to 3 people on your team with this full control. Okay. Not necessarily because you don't trust them to steal data. That could be the case as well. But you don't trust that they might accidentally do something dumb, like delete all or something like that. So you want to keep and minimize how many people are full admin control. Okay. Now let's look at this little thing, only assign data. That simply means if I toggle this on, it'll even give you this little reminder. Please be aware that enabling this option will visually remove things like contacts, opportunities, and conversations from your dashboard if they were not assigned to your user. So that's good if not for an admin, but if you want them to only see what's assigned to them, then this is when you would toggle that on like this. See that? Now they will only see what's assigned to them we don't want that on an admin because they would likely need to see all assigned data or all data. So this is how I would do it. Admin, 2 or 3 people you'd set up like this, hit save, have them log in, and they'll have access to pretty much everything. Okay. Now you can set up an admin and limit what they're seeing right here. You can still toggle things on. Just because they have an admin role does not mean you can't just say, hey, I want to remove this from their view. There's no reason this admin, they're not going to be doing any kind of reporting like AdWords reporting, agent reporting, attribution reporting, Facebook reporting. They're not going to touch any of this. They're not going to do the social planner or blogging. And let's see, and so on, right? Now there's one. You can also do an admin that's just like or a user that's just like payment permissions, for instance, right? Like that user is only in charge of payment permissions. So you could turn off everything in here like this. Boom. I'm not going to turn them all off. And just open up record payments, cancel subscriptions, refunding, invoicing, and payments. You could just have them see those things only for those contacts. Okay. So there's that one. Now, the most common one, let's talk about now. You know what an admin and maybe a payment settings. Again, I didn't turn all these off, but assume I turned all these off for payment. Somebody who's processing payments only, and maybe you just have a financial person in charge of ARs or accounts receivable, right? And that's all they would see. Okay, great. Now, what about a setter? A setter, I would leave their dashboard stats on. You don't need campaigns or triggers. That is old, and it's been replaced by workflows. So let's say a setter, I don't even need them to see workflows. All I would do with a setter is make sure they see their opportunities, their contacts, and let's see, only assign data in this case, because I don't, in my case, in my team, I don't want them to see all contacts. Just in this case, example, I just want them to see only what's assigned to them. Okay. You could see lead value. That just means if you want to put a value to each lead, like a number value, like $100 or $500 or whatever, you could have them see lead value. I don't need any of this on payments, nothing. Appointments, yes, I want them to see that. No bulk requests, no funnels. They definitely want to see conversations so they can have conversations back and forth. That's text, email, phone. They don't need reviews, memberships, settings, tags, or even marketing. Okay. So this could be as simple as setting up a setter or setting up your user as a setter permissions. Okay. And we have tutorials on this, guys. You can always just come in here and type in add user, and it'll remind you of this simple thing, how to add additional users. We even have like screenshots of like what that might look like, adding a sales rep and what you might consider putting people in as like ad managers or assistant users and so on. Okay, that's fine. But let's talk about like maybe you have somebody who they're a setter, but they're a setter manager, and you want them to see every contact record. So the only difference is go ahead and toggle this only assign data off so they can see all contact records. Okay, you follow? So this is a setter manager. One setter manager, you want them to see all contact records, but every other setter, let's say you have 5 other setters, they would have settings something like this. Good? Okay, cool. Closers. You would actually pretty much can handle like setting it up the same way. And a closer is the same thing. You would have either a closer or a like sales manager or sales trainer, and they could have assigned data or not assigned data. Okay. So now you have all, let's assume you have your closers and your setters set up. You have your admin, you have your AR, like accounts receivable. Now your team's in here. Now what do you do? How do you make them play well together? So here's where it gets a little more fun. I would say what I just went over is more or less the boring crap, right? So what I would do here is this. Let's say, let me go back to our flow chart. Where'd it go? Okay, flow chart. This is your standard flow when a new lead comes in sales. New lead comes in. You assign the lead to a setter, and this can happen automatically. Hopefully, you know that can happen automatically. We won't go over that today, but the system CRMX can just assign it in a round robin fashion to setters. That way, they see what's assigned to them. Right? We just turn those permissions on, and they can go ahead and work them through the pipeline and add notes and have a conversation with them. Well, let's say they book an appointment. They qualify, they contact, qualify, they book an appointment. Boom. When they book an appointment, the appointment is typically assigned to the closer. So now what happens is because your setter, their permissions, remember, are marked as only see what's assigned to them. Well, when they book the appointment, it removes the setter from being assigned to the contact, and it assigns it to the closer. So suddenly it disappears from their view. That is annoying. Okay. If you want it to be that way, that's totally fine. But typically, you want the setters to be in charge of what if it's a no show or a canceled appointment or somebody requests, hey, we're going to have to get back to this another time, a cancellation. They're not, what I mean by canceled, I mean, there's a possible rebooking involved here. So, what if that's the case? Do you want your closers dealing with that, or do you want the setters dealing with that? If you want your setters to deal with rebooking appointments, they don't even know. It's off of their view. They can't even see. So you want to assign them as a follower at that point. So here's what would happen, the new way of doing things, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and just copy this. This would be the flow. When this this is assigned to the contact is assigned to the setter, what you're going to do is the setter books an appointment, but before they book an appointment, they're going to assign themselves as a follower. Okay, that's all they would have to do, and so now they're a follower, and then they book the appointment. It's still booked, and then it just doesn't remove them. Let me see. This is still true too. It removes the setter from being assigned to the contact as the owner. I'll say being the come on, I can type the assigned owner. Remove the setter from being the assigned owner to the contact. And I'll say still a follower. Okay. This is where the power of followers come in place, and this is where it makes it easy to play well together. So I just want to show you how that looks. So I'm a setter. Let me zoom out. My dashboard looks all funky, guys. Sorry. Let's see. Let me zoom out here like this. Let's say I'm contacting Peter Parker. I'm the setter, and let's just put my name as a setter. So I'm the owner. See that right here? Assigned to, that's the contact owner. And then you'll see this little thing called followers. And you can see now let's say I'm contacting Peter Parker. I'm like, sweet, I just booked an appointment. So I go ahead, I book the appointment. Now, before I book this appointment, actually, what I would do before that is I'd add myself as a follower if I want to still see it, that is. So I might say, okay, cool. I can add myself as a follower after I book the appointment, and I can go from there. So like here, let me show you the whole example. I'm trying to speed through this too fast. So I book an appointment. I'd say, yep, that's great. Book an appointment. Boom. And what happens here, it's going to assign whoever owns the appointment. Let's say the assigned user is here as the follower. Let's say this time though, Bob Marley was the user that it got assigned to this appointment. Okay. Let me just try here. Sorry. Give me a second. Boom, boom. Probably just moving too fast at this point. There we go. Team member. So you can see it's right here. I'm the only team member, like Brent Attaway is the only team member on the calendar. But let's say I still want to see the contact information, even though it's about to leave my view. Then all I have to do is hurry and say this and add myself, and now I'm a follower. Again, followers cannot edit the contact record as long as my permissions don't allow that. Like if you take step one and set up the permissions correctly, then followers won't be able to like edit. They'll just be able to see. So now we have Bob Marley who can control this whole thing, this contact record. They can change the appointment times. They can do whatever they need to. But also you have the setter, Brent, who is at least able to now see what's happening. So for instance, in the pipeline, Bob Marley right here, the setter can now actually see this opportunity and understand that, oh, the appointment was kept. Good. It sat. I get paid. So like if your setters are wondering what they get paid on and they get paid on sits or a commission or a partial commission, this helps them and it feels good to be a setter, and the closer updates it to one and an appointment's kept, they're like, sweet, I'm going to get paid a little extra on this. This is awesome. Or paid a lot. I don't know how your commission structure works, but they're no longer bugging you or your sales manager, closer. Hey, did you get that appointment? What happened there? And they're not wondering. It's just done and they see it as a follower. So all of that to say, that's how simple it should be. Now, as a follower and a contact owner, whether you're the contact owner or follower, let me show you the next powerful thing that you should be using or could be using inside of here. Let's go to Steve Rogers. And I told you earlier that there's these contacts fields, right? There's company fields if you sell to companies or sell to somebody who has multiple contacts at companies, that's useful. But most people use the contactors. So in this example here, let me just show you here. Look at all these things that I can see and edit as a contact owner. I can edit their contact information, their standard like name, email, phone. Okay. I also have some other stuff that I've customized here. These FU automations. You don't have to have these in your app. These are just ones built in this example for solar. You have sales information, which like maybe you want to understand like which type of roof type they have or anything else. This is just an example during the sales process. General information, they might have a business name or street address and anything else. You can organize these into different folders and rename them if you'd like. Additional info, this might be the setter name that's assigned if you this is probably outdated, I would say, in this example I'm showing, but like if you wanted to show like a setter name inside of this drop down menu, you could do that. You could do a lead type, you could do lead, all this different stuff, right? Look at all these are all custom, by the way. So I've made up this flow of additional information that I could or don't have to do on collecting their contact data. That's fine. You're going to have your own. What I would advise you to do is make sure that you understand what do you want to collect on contacts between them being a lead all the way through qualifying, all the way through closing and delivering your services. You can have all those fields in here that you're tracking it. Okay. Maybe you want it as simple as you want to collect their birthday every time they become a customer so you can send them a happy birthday card in the mail. Or maybe you want to have an anniversary of becoming a customer, like a customer anniversary date. You can do a custom field for that. And every time it's their customer anniversary date, you can send them something saying, hey, it's been 1 year. Thank you. And here's a credit towards a free haircut. I don't know. Whatever you're going to do. Okay. The point is you can customize that. Now, how does that help you work as a team together? How does that help you? It does this. Look, all the activity over here on the right, as a team member, I'm going to widen this a little bit. I can see everything that's happening on this contact record. So let me find a different one that has some conversations, perhaps in the past here. Let's see if this worked. Okay. So I can see as a team, you can see how powerful this becomes if I'm a setter and or closer and we're both looking at the contact record and we don't have to sit there and go back and forth wondering who said what. I can just look at the thread of conversation. Like, okay, an email was sent and opened. This email was sent but delivered and it doesn't say it was opened. Okay, great. This text message was sent. Now, this has a warning because the texting, this is a sandbox account, guys. So the texting is not actually set up active. So it didn't actually send. But hey, let's say it didn't send and something went wrong. You could see, oh, it failed. There's no number assigned to this account, or this is why it failed, or it did go through and you can see that it went through. I can literally understand the thread of conversation. That's first thing to do. Plus, I can hurry and take action. If I'm the contact owner, I can actually communicate with them and do everything here. Okay. Now, you can also do this. Look, most people don't even see these or use them. This activities like what websites they visited, how they became a lead. Typically, like if they opted off your website, it doesn't show it here because there's no activity off of any websites tracking. But if it were, that's where it'd show. Tasks, you can have task in here. So any kind of task. That's in here. The due date tomorrow, that's here. So everybody can see what tasks are going on. Great. And who it's assigned to. Notes. These are obviously super helpful. Always leave notes. You can't leave enough notes. Okay. So, met with Bob and his wife, Julie. Their dog's name is Sam. Whatever, right? It's going to do a time stamp, a date, and who it was made by. If the system makes this note automatically, because you can program it to do that, then it just won't say by. It'll just say the time. But you can add so many notes and look at and be able to scroll through that. You can see all their appointments. The appointment history would show up here. Their documents. You can upload any documents. There's coming soon. We can say we can show what was, if there was anything sent to them, like proposals or received. But for now, you have internal documents here, and all I have to do, I can like add a new file, any kind of these files. So a doc file, PNG, JPEG, GIF, PowerPoint, or PDF. You can drop it in here, and you can upload a document. Okay, so here's our little New Year logo that we were working on earlier. So like there's this, I uploaded it, and now we have a document. Okay. So we have this right here. So again, this can be an example of a contract you have with them. This could be anything. It depends on your business and model. But for solar, it's going to be usually some kind of contract, or a power bill is typically how people use this documents area. Okay. So upload their power bills here. All right. And then payments. Some of you might take payments, and their transactions would show here, the recent transactions. Plus, if you didn't know, you can charge people. You would have to integrate your Stripe payments. That's upon setup. But like if you take Stripe, for instance, and take payments for that haircut we were talking about, you just want to charge them right now. You can just pop that up, charge, confirm, boom, done. Just collected payment, and there's a record of it. So you can do everything right here. So now you can imagine, as a team member, I want you to step back. You have setters, you have closers, you have admin people at the desk, you have back office people running payments and collections. They all can see the same damn thing. That's the point of a CRM. But not just that, this CRM, like CRMX, you can see more. You can see everything in here. Typically, here's the downside of not having something like CRMX, where it's more or less pretty much all in one tool. Typically, you have something like this. You have a CRM over here. CRMX is not it. Let's say it's CRM, as my son would say, boo-boo, which means no good. Excuse me. I'm going to get a drink. I'm talking a lot. My son Landon, in his teenage sayings, have you guys ever heard them say, oh, that's boo-boo? So you have some CRM that's not CRMX, which is boo-boo, okay? And what would happen is you have to have that CRM. Plus, you have to have a plug-in, which is like Calendly, and then you plug it in, and then you have some kind of sales pipeline tracking thing over here, and you plug that in. Then you have your payments, and then you plug that in, and then what else? You have your funnel system and your funnel software, so you plug that in, and you have all this, and you plug it all in, and so you never can really see. You have to go to each one to see when the appointment was, or the record of appointments in Calendly. Then you come over here where the notes are. Then you go over there where the sales pipeline is. Instead, it's all right here. That is what's powerful. It's all within this contact record, at least. I can also see their sales opportunities right here. I can add an opportunity. I can do everything. So I just want you to see this, guys, as you're coming in here. It's probably one of the more boring trainings I've ever done when it comes to like a cash clinic, but it's also one of the more powerful ones, because as soon as you get it and it starts clicking for your team, you guys can really move quickly. It takes some onboarding, it takes some training, some little orientation, but it's about 30 days of just getting into it with your team, and you will have this thing humming perfectly for you. I highly recommend that if you don't know even what I'm talking about, you didn't know, and you have a team and you want to get them going, just hit us up. You can hit the little chat here and say support. We just our hours are, if you can do a support ticket, but there's a live chat that will show up right here during hours. I'm just out of our hours right now for live chat. If you hit that, just say, hey, can I sign up and get my team trained? How do I do that? Just ask for help on that. We have a service where you will train your whole team. Sometimes it's me, or somebody else on our team, and we'll actually train your whole team how to use this based on how your team operates. So if you have setters, closers, back office, financial, whatever it is, okay? But I don't want this to be the reason why you don't crush it in 2024, is that your users just don't know what to do inside of CRMX. Does that make sense? That's not a good reason not to use a tool. Just because you don't know how to swing the hammer does not mean the hammer doesn't pound in nails really well, right? So you need to learn how to swing this hammer and you will like it a lot. Okay. All right. Questions. I have a few of you live here. What questions do you have for me, ladies and gentlemen? And then we'll wrap this up. If you want to be on the hot seat, by the way, I haven't done a hot seat in a while. All that means is I will bring in StreamYard. It has a feature where I can bring you on stage, and then I'll share my screen. I'll solve the problem. Assuming you have a CRMX account, I'll actually share the screen and solve the problem right now. Just let me know. If you want to be on the hot seat, just type in hot seat and your name in the chat. If you're just seeing this, we're taking questions, Q&A. Boom, boom, boom. I'll wait. If you're a visitor and you don't even know what CRMX is, see this little banner thing scrolling across the bottom? You can go get your free trial to CRMX. CRMXfreetrial.com. Just go there and get your free trial. Questions, guys? Questions. I don't see any yet. I don't know who's still here with me live, but if you have questions, just hit me up right now. Type them in the chat. Let's see who these chats are, you guys. Wonder who this is. I can't wait till StreamYard actually allows you to see who it is in the chat. Ba-doom. Oh, that's not going to be good. I'm going to get an echo there. All right, so Skylar was here. Jack Burley was here. Christy was here. My wife, Christy. I swear she sees every one of these lives. If you're ever lucky enough in life to get that good of support, the supporter of your life and your business and everything, man, you are one of the luckiest people. I know I am. Very, very lucky to have Christy always. She's always just like, and she doesn't even help in the business anymore. And she's always here jumping in and commenting. Thanks, Christy. Love you, young lady. All right. Young hot lady. I'll get in trouble depending on how I say these things. All right. Anything else, guys? Got nothing. I'm just sitting here flirting with my wife over the interwebs, waiting for your questions. No? All right. Well, we're going to end the training. I must have done a phenomenal job. That's how I'll take it. I did not confuse anybody, of course, because I am incredible at training that way. But I want to make sure your questions are answered. I don't see any questions. I'm glad you were here. And hopefully, even if you're watching this recording, you know what to do next. Go get your users set up, right? Understand the permissions that you want them to have. You can always change it afterwards. I didn't go over that, but you can. And get them set up. Then go through and train how you want your setters or closers, how you want to hand things off between each other. So train your people to say, okay, good. If you're going to hand this off to somebody, make sure you add yourself as a follower afterwards, okay? So that you can see it in the future. Also, train your people to add notes at all times. Book appointments through the software so they can see the appointments. And check all the conversation history before they ask questions if somebody's followed up with them or not, because the follow-up will be in there. You train your team on how to use this, and you guys will move faster, better, and it'll be a system in 2024 where you guys will really, really just move faster than ever before. Even if you've been using CRMX for a while, and now this is like opening your eyes to like, wow, we really could just streamline how we communicate better inside of CRMX for our contacts, then go do this. Make this a priority over the next 30 days. Get your team trained up. And if you need our help and you want us to do the training with you, just hit us up and ask what that looks like to get training by our team. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. And we'll chat on the next CRMX Cash Clinic, which let's see, when is that? Cash Clinic. I always go to my own things. If you go to CRMX Cash Clinic, our next one is Wednesday next week. So we are on for next week. We're going to go up on the follow-up fast track, how to build a quick custom follow-up workflow. And you can learn to create your own follow-up process that aligns with your specific sales strategy. So as you know, we are big on follow-up. I have a book called Follow-Up Fortunes. We've programmed a lot of the follow-up in there for you, especially if you're in home services like solar. It's already there for you. But let's say you have your own follow-up that you want to do. I'm going to show you how to build a follow-up workflow, automate it, and make it like streamlined for you. That's next week. So be there for next week, and we'll rock and roll. If you have questions and you want me to put you on the hot seat next week, then be there and raise your hand, and just comment hot seat, and I'll get you in there and we'll actually walk you through and set this up for you, or at least, a portion of it for you. All right. We'll chat next week. Have a great night.